Hi everybody, welcome to your first lesson for Unit 12, and we are going to be adding integers today. So adding positive and negative numbers. You do not have a handout, you need to be writing down the parts that I tell you to write down. That's what I expect to see with your photo submission into Etsy. Okay. So we're going to start with the vocabulary, and yes, I want you to write both of these terms down, even though I know absolute value is a review. So absolute value, remember, is a number's distance from zero, how far away it is from zero. A absolute value cannot be negative because distance cannot be negative. So the absolute value of -6 is 6. It is 6 away from 0. The absolute value of 8 is 8. It is 8 away from 0. And remember, this is the opposite of the absolute value of -2. So we know -2 is 2 away from 0, but we want the opposite of that. And the opposite of 2 is, of course, -2. New for this unit is additive inverse, and that is when two numbers have a sum of 0. So when you add them, you get 0, and we get that when we add opposites. So -2 plus 2 would give us 0, -8 plus 8 would give us 0, and then 5 plus -5 would give us 0. Make sure you've written these down. Pause it if you need to. So we're going to start with adding and just modeling this on a number line. You do not have to write this down. If you want to, you can, but I'm not going to make you. I just want you to see this. It says begin on the first number. If the second addend is positive, you're going to move to the right that many places. And if the second addend is negative, you're going to move to the left that many places. So to model this first one, we have -3 plus 6. So we're going to start on the -3. We're adding a positive number to that. We're making it more positive. So we're going to jump to the right 6 places. That's going to land us at a +3. If you look at our second example, we're going to start on -2. And to that, we're adding -5. So we're taking a negative number and making it more negative. We're going to jump to the left. So starting on -2, making 5 jumps to the left. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lands us at -7. You do need to write down everything on this slide, okay? If we were in the classroom, you would have had a foldable to make and we would have written this exact thing down. So we've got two things to remember when we are adding integers. And the first is if the signs are the same. So we have two positive numbers or two negative numbers. This is quite simply the easiest way you're going to add, right? You're just going to take the numbers and add them together. If they're positive, then your answer is going to be positive. If they're both negative, then your answer is going to be more negative. So just add them and keep the sign. So we got a couple super easy ones here. 2 plus 3 is, of course, 5, right? You already knew that. 15 plus 3, you know this one too, 18. Now here we see two negative numbers, -5 plus -18. We're starting with a negative value and we're making it more negative. Well, I know that 5 plus 8 is 13. So -5 plus -8 is -13. Super easy, right? Our last example here, -6 plus -12. Well, they're both a negative. So we're taking a negative number, we're making it more negative, moving farther away from that 0. I know 6 plus 12 is 18. So guess what? -6 plus -12, you got it, -18. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Make sure you have everything from this slide written on your notes because we're almost done. This is a quick and easy lesson. All right, the last thing you need to know about adding integers. What do we do when the signs are different? So let's say I have a positive and a negative, or a negative and a positive. We're going to do the same thing no matter what order those signs are in. So you're going to subtract the numbers, okay? Pay no attention to the signs. I just want you to look at those numbers and subtract them. And then think about which one of those has the greatest value. That's the sign that you want to take. So if the largest number is a negative, your answer is going to be negative. If that largest value is a positive, your answer is going to be positive. So let's see what that really looks like. On example A, you have negative 15 plus 10. Okay, negative 15 plus 10. So the first thing we want to do is subtract them. So forget about your signs. What's 15 minus 10? 5. Now, take a look. Between those two numbers, which one of these has a greater absolute value? 15. 15 is a bigger number. So since that number has a negative sign in front of it, that tells me that my answer is going to be negative. So remember, we're going to subtract. 15 minus 10 is 5. Since the bigger number happens to be negative, the answer is going to be negative. See how that works? Let's try another one. Remember, all of these need to be on your paper in your notes. 40 plus negative 32. So the first thing I want to think about is, what's 40 minus 32? If you need to work these off on the side of your paper, do that so that you don't get these wrong. Well, I know 40 minus 32 is 8. Now I need to think about which one of these is a stronger number. Well, 40 is greater than 32, and it's positive, so my answer is going to be positive 8. The other way we can think about this, it's another way of writing 40 minus 32. You're adding negativity to that number, so that's like a subtraction problem. All right, C. We've got smaller numbers here, much easier to think about. 5 plus negative 8. Remember what I said, we want to take those values and subtract them. So forget about the signs, 5 and 8. What do you get when you subtract 8 and 5? You get 3. So let's look at these. Which of these is a bigger number, 8 or 5? Well, 8's bigger, and it's negative. So my 3 is going to be negative. Oh, and now look at that. I gave you the answer for D. Let's just make sure that makes sense. So we have negative 14 plus 20. Well, I know that 20 minus 14 is 6. And if I look at these to see which one is the larger number, 20 is larger and it's positive. So when I subtract these, my answer is going to be a positive number. And that's it, you guys. This is an easy lesson. From here, we're going to start doing subtraction, and later we're going to get into decimals and fractions. So make sure you understand this. Make sure you've copied all of this information into your notes, and that is what I need you to submit for me into EdSpay. Until next time, you guys.